Three players Manchester United should look at signing in 2023. Currently our squad has more holes in it than a block of Swiss cheese, so we desperately need further reinforcements to buy into Erik ten Hag's project and his overall belief. So here are three players who I think could massively improve Manchester United in 2023. So the first player we're going to look at is Enzo Fernandez. We already have a very good Fernandez, so let's go get another one. This guy has been lighting it up at the World Cup for Argentina, and he has been so good for Benfica all season. Enzo Fernandez, of course, another player Manchester United could have bought if we had been on the ball and actively looking for good young players. Ralf Rangnick recognised his talent last January, said we need to get him out of River Plate. We didn't do that. He went to Benfica and his value has multiplied by 2 or 3 times since. We could have got him for around 20 million in the summer, but we didn't, and now if we want him we'll have to pay a premium between 60 to 80 million. He is absolutely fantastic though. Enzo Fernandez in his age category deserves to be up there with the likes of Jude Bellingham and Pedri in my opinion. He is absolutely sensational. At just 21, he is one of those rare players who can genuinely do it all in midfield. He can create, he can score, he can tackle, he can pass, and he can control the entire tempo of the game. That is something that is so lacking at Manchester United. When we see Christian Eriksen playing in midfield, he is very good on the ball, as we know, but he doesn't have the engine to get up and down the pitch. He can't be that box-to-box type player for Manchester United. Eriksen can play further forward, of course, if we were to bring Enzo Fernandez in, so it could be a very good option for our squad. So when we look at Enzo Fernandez, we see a player who is very well rounded. Looking at those strengths, we are seeing he is very good at long passing, short passing, long shots, and he can score in the box, he can create, he can tackle, he can do it all in midfield. He is absolutely fantastic. At just 21, he really is one of the best up and coming young midfielders in European football. Looking at those stats, we see a player who is in tremendous form for club and country this season, scored a fantastic goal for Argentina at the World Cup, and looking at those stats for Benfica, they are very good. 30 appearances this season, Enzo Fernandez has 4 goals, 6 assists coming from that deeper lying midfield role, which is very good to see. That highlights just how talented this guy is at long shots. And looking at his passing numbers, they are phenomenal. Honestly, we do not have a player in our squad who can put anywhere near these numbers up on a match-to-match basis. So Enzo Fernandez is averaging 94 passes per match. He is averaging 2 key passes per match, which is a pass leading to a shot on goal. So he is controlling the ball, he is creating chances, and he is having a very high pass accuracy of 88%, playing in midfield for Benfica. Absolutely fantastic stuff from Enzo Fernandez. He would fit in at Manchester United so nicely. So just how would Enzo Fernandez fit in midfield? I think it could be just like this really. We would have 2 Fernandez in our midfield, we'd have Bruno and Enzo. So for me, he'd be a fantastic partner for Casemiro in that pivot. Whenever we see Enzo Fernandez averaging 94 passes per match, this is phenomenal numbers. At the minute we only have Casemiro dropping deep to get on the ball and pick it up from our centre backs. This would be a fantastic link between midfield and defence. For me, he already knows Lisandro Martinez very well from their time in the Argentine national squad. They could have a very nice connection on that left hand side. For me, Enzo Fernandez, as we know, will be bursting up and down that pitch, making tackles, being all action and all over the pitch, covering every blade of grass on the Old Trafford pitch. It would be absolutely fantastic to see a player of his quality in that midfield. When we see Christian Eriksen play, he is very talented. We know how good Eriksen is on the ball, and he has been a fantastic signing on free for us. But looking at his overall game, he doesn't have that raw athleticism, he doesn't have the defensive instincts that Enzo Fernandez does. Enzo Fernandez, for me, would be absolutely perfect in that midfield. So who is Goncalo Ramos? He is a striker currently applying his trade at Benfica. He is a very talented player. At just 21, he has some very good attributes, and he really is ahead of his years in terms of his mentality and how he plays the game. He holds the ball up very nicely. He brings others into play. He is a strong, direct player. He has very strong in the box movement. He is good with both feet. He can score with his head. He could be the perfect striker for Erik ten Hag's system. We've seen links to him in the summer, of course. We are now seeing more links following his fantastic display for Portugal at the World Cup against Switzerland. He really is a player to be watching out for. Valued at around 50 to 60 million, Manchester United of course could have bought him for less in the summer, but that would mean we would have to be a well-run club, which we all know we just are not. But looking at those underlying numbers, Goncalo Ramos really is an absolute star at just 21. In 22 matches this season, he has 13 goals and 2 assists. Very strong numbers playing for Benfica. Of course, he's looked good in the Champions League, looked very good in the World Cup, and he's looking very good in the Portuguese League week in, week out for Benfica. He really could be a player who Manchester United look to lead our forward line for many years. At just 21, he has so much time ahead of him. He can get so much better than what he currently is already. We can see some of those underlying numbers as well as highlighted down below. We're looking at a player who averages 2.7 shots per game. He has 0.7 key passes per game, so that means that his hold-up play is very effective. He's bringing people into play and they're getting shots off on target. And of course, looking at just 14 passes, so that does highlight a player who, when he gets the ball, he does something with it, either shoots or creates a chance for his teammate, and that is something Manchester United have sorely lacked up front this season. So just how would Goncalo Ramos fit in at Manchester United? Just like this, really, in my opinion, he would be absolutely fantastic through the middle. His hold-up play and his ability to bring people into play would suit our inverted wingers in Rashford and Antony so well. He would link up very nicely with his Portuguese colleague Enzo Fernandez just behind him, and it would bring a very well-rounded attacking quartet at Manchester United. His hold-up play would make him in the mould of Anthony Martial, where he can bring players into play, but he's always fit, he is stronger, he is faster, he is taller, he has all these attributes and the stats to back them up to highlight that he really is a fantastic striker at just 21. For me, he would be the outstanding candidate to lead our line at just 21, as mentioned. So much time ahead of him, so much time to get better, and he could be available for a relatively affordable price in comparison to other strikers. When we look at other players in his age bracket, we would look at high fees for Dusan Vlahovic. Jonathan David would go for a very high fee. So I feel like Goncalo Ramos for 50 to 60 million could be a fantastic option for Manchester United. So the final player we're going to look at is Malo Gusto, currently playing for Lyon, one of the best young right backs in the entire French league, absolutely smashing it this season. So Malo Gusto, a 19-year-old right back currently playing for Lyon, valued between 20 and 30 million. He could be one of the next big right backs in the entire world. He has that much development and that much potential in him. He could be fantastic. When we look at our right back options this season, only Diogo Dalot has exclusively played. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is not fancied. Brandon Williams is not fancied. Ethan Laird has been on loan at QPR, but he always has had that injury-prone side, and that could hold him back in his career. Malo Gusto, on the other hand, has been absolutely fantastic for Lyon this season. Looking firstly at his strengths, we see a player who is in the tenhag mold. Very good on the dribble, he can hold the ball up, he's got strong interceptions, which will be important for a team that want to play on the halfway line and with their defensive line, so his recovery pace will be very important for Manchester United. Looking at those stats, 14 appearances this season, 3 assists, which are very good numbers in a relatively poor Lyon team. They aren't as good as what they have been in recent years. Looking as well, we see a player heavily involved in the build-up, 61 passes per match, very good for a right back. This would fit Ten Hag's system absolutely perfectly. Looking as well, we're seeing a player with 1.5 key passes per game, so he's creating from that right back area, which is fantastic. It's great to see a young right back create chances for his teammates to get shots off on goal. Looking at 2 crosses per match as well, which is a decent number, so that obviously isn't included in the key passes, so that could be 3 to 4 crosses, key passes per match, which would be absolutely fantastic for a right back. At just 19, he could be absolutely special, and this is definitely a player to keep an eye out. So how would Malo Gusto fit in at Manchester United? Initially at right back, of course. He can play further up. He has played at right mid and even right wing for Lyon this season. He is a versatile player, but that right back position is his own. So looking how he could fit in, he would, in my opinion, come in to challenge Dalot, much in the way Tyrell Malacia has come in to challenge Luke Shaw. They may take their space in the first team if performance drops, and that's good. That's good for Manchester United. We have had too many players over this last couple of years playing week in, week out, regardless of form. We've seen Harry Maguire have absolute shockers and constantly be picked, especially Marcus Rashford last season played a lot because there's no other options, even though he wasn't in form. Looking as well, Luke Shaw has been out of form and is constantly being picked. David De Gea has been out of form and constantly being picked. So having more depth and more quality to compete for first team places will mean that we have the best player on form in our starting 11 week in, week out. And for me, Malo Gusto could come in and really rival Dalot for that spot. He could one day surpass him and take over that spot as Manchester United's starting right back. So there we have it, guys. 3 young players Manchester United should look at signing in 2023. I think it's very unlikely that we get Enzo Fernandez and Goncalo Ramos out of Benfica in the 1 year. I just don't see that happening personally. So out of the 2, I would probably go for Goncalo Ramos because United's need for a striker is dire. Manchester United desperately need a young striker to lead that forward line, and for me, Goncalo Ramos is the outstanding candidate. Looking at right back options, We desperately need further depth in our squad, and we need more quality there. Diogo Dalot has been fantastic, but he can't do it all by himself. He will have drop-offs in form, as all players do. So for me, Malo Gusto is the outstanding candidate in that area to replace Diogo Dalot after a couple of seasons. So definitely for me, those are 3 players we should be looking at. Anybody else you guys want to see covered, or if you have any other opinions, let me know down in the comments below. As always, thank you very much for watching. It is much appreciated. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and stick around for much more coming up. Thank you and